this episode of the Breaks Music Show The Singles, we have American folk rocker CHRIS CRUZ. Chris is a lifelong Southern California resident and is a fixture of the live music scene. We'll have his interview with Ed Steele right after this.
Hi there, I want to let you know about an exciting podcast called The Breaks Music Show. So what is The Breaks Music Show? The Breaks Music Show is America's most informative new radio show highlighting the world's best unsigned artists. Be sure to find us on your favourite podcast platform as well as YouTube, Rumble, Twitter and more. Remember, every Friday is when you can hear interviews and music from 3 of the best unsigned artists in the world. The Breaks Music Show is a Grebo Inc. production.
It's the Breaks Music Show. I'm your host, Ed Steele, and today we welcome CHRIS CRUZ. CHRIS CRUZ, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right, looking forward to this interview here. All right, CHRIS CRUZ, you're out in California. Can you tell us more about what CHRIS CRUZ is about?
Well, I'm a performer, songwriter, and, I do different sorts of, I do cover gigs, I do original gigs, I host open mics. I've been known to host karaoke, and but primarily, my favorite thing is songwriting and performing the original stuff.
All right, you said songwriting was one of your favorite things to do. How old were you when you got interested in songwriting?
Well, I grew up in school music, so I played trumpet and sang in the choir. And once I got to college, I wasn't quite, there was 50 trumpet players at Long Beach State, and I was probably the 42nd best. And I decided at that point that I might try something different, and I started hanging around with guitar players, and my brother my younger brother played some music, and picked up a guitar and immediately started writing songs. So. It's the saying that I have is a trumpet doesn't do you a bit of good on the beach. A guitar will, though, and a nice song.
It's the Breaks Music Show. We're speaking with CHRIS CRUZ. All right, he's a songwriter and a singer. All right, I got to ask you, what was your first performance, and how old were you when you performed?
Well, my first musical performance,
Yeah.
I was in the 4th grade. And what happened was the music teacher came to our class and said, if you can match the notes on the piano, you can miss out on some regular classes and go to music class. And so I joined the choir, and right away we were doing 2 or 3 shows a year. We do the spring show and the Christmas show, and I sang in a little barbershop quartet when I was in junior high. So I've been performing since probably the age of 10.
All right, Chris, what was your first show as CHRIS CRUZ, and how old were you?
I was probably 20 years old, and it was at the Long Beach State Nugget, which is their bar. And it was a couple-hour show, and my friends came, and it was a good time. I think I have a tape of that somewhere. I'm afraid to listen to it, though.
It's the Breaks Music Show, and we're joined with CHRIS CRUZ in the studio. All right, I got a question for you here. What is folk music today, and how does it differ from folk music in the past?
Well, I think that's an excellent question because, Woody Guthrie, Pete Seeger, to me, that's what folk music is. And I think that, it talks about social issues, what's going on in the world, maybe things that might need to be illuminated, to be changed. That's what folk music is to me. Now these days, the newer folk bands started singing about girls, and really it's an instrumentation thing. So I really enjoy that music has kind of had a resurgence. The instrumentation of banjos and acoustic guitars and acoustic music in general. I don't think that these days it's very pointed towards, political action, because it's not necessarily helpful. in economically. If you talk about serious issues, it's tough to get. In 2008, I released a folk record called "On My Mind," and when I went out and started working, it was tough to get work because people didn't really want to hear the songs that I was singing about, because I was singing about real issues. And a lot of the establishments, restaurants, bars, I was playing a lot in Southern Orange County, and it's a conservative area, and so they weren't necessarily receptive to my kind of Neil Young sort of approach to things. So but that's what leads me to that song, "I Like the Red, I Like the Blue," because I kind of funned it up a little bit and made it more comical and more acceptable.
It's the Breaks Music Show, Chris Cruz, and here's the song, "Not Your Kind of Man."
Well, I'm not your kind of man. Oh, girl, I'm fond of you, but I've done all that I can, even though my love is true. Understand that I'm not your kind of man.
Well, you're not my kind of man. No, you know I'm fond of you. You've done all that you can, even though your love is true. Please understand, you're not my kind of man.
Yeah, there's something calling me, something more I need. When surrounded by your four walls, I can't breathe, 'cause I'm not your kind of man. But there's something that would feel.
There's something good and something real.
Please seduce me with your touch, girl, you're all I'm thinking of. Comfort me, but I'm not your kind of man. Yeah, there's something calling me, something more I need. When surrounded by your four walls, I can't breathe, 'cause I'm not your kind of man.
It's lonely here at night.
Oh, I hear it does.
And I want you here with me.
Oh, I bet you do. When it gets lonely in the night, and I want you here with me, right here with me. I'm just not your kind of man. And in the morning comes the light,
And in the light it's plain to see.
well, in the morning comes the light, in the light it's plain to see, plain to see,
Plain to see, plain to see.
that I'm not your kind of man. Yeah, there's something calling me, something more I need. When surrounded by your four walls, I can't breathe, 'cause I'm not your kind of man. But if it's comfort that you need,
Well, I'll be here to ease your pain.
oh, if it's comfort that you need, I'll be here to ease your pain. Oh, I believe, I'm just not your kind of man. Yeah, there's something calling me, something more I need.
It's the Breaks Music Show, joined by Chris Cruz today. We just heard his song, Not Your Kind of Man. All right, Mr. Cruz, is there a story behind that song, Not Your Kind of Man?
Well, there certainly is. I was having a party here at my home. It's probably, I don't know. I'm not sure what the party was for, but an ex-girlfriend came to the party. It's not Ray Shire. She's just the singer on the song, but an ex-girlfriend came to the party, and I had a good amount of lobster, and the first group of people came and went, and then I started calling my friends to come by and eat some lobster, and anyway, my ex-girlfriend just refused to leave. She just did not leave, and she ended up staying over. And in the morning after she left, it took me about 20 minutes to write that song called Not Your Kind of Man.
It's the Breaks Music Show with Chris Cruz. All right, what are your thoughts on the music industry as it relates to the way things used to be and how it is now with social media?
Well, I think, I did a stint in music distribution, so I was kind of in the middle of the CD revolution when everything was just big and, CDs were selling like crazy. But I think the difference now is, the accessibility is there. You can get your music out you can record it today and have it released, tonight if you'd like. And I think that it makes it better for art these days because, you can create a lot easier, a lot cheaper. It's relatively inexpensive to release a single. You can be working on different projects at the same time, which is what I'm kind of doing these days is I've got a hard folk record going. I've got some singer-songwriter stuff going. I've got a more melancholy batch of music that I'm working on, and for the artist, I think you've got more chances to create, and it sort of lines up with the old record label throw everything up against the wall and whatever sticks, you kind of follow up on that, and as an artist, you can just be creative. And you don't have to worry. In the old days, you worried about how's anybody going to hear this. And now it's very accessible. You just have to get people to look for you. Now the downside is there's just so much music out there, so it's easy to get lost. But you can create your own customer base. Basically, I think that's the way to go, and act more like a painter would, or the other art forms.
It's the Breaks Music Show with Chris Cruz. Here's his song, Nowhere.
Traveling to a dusty old town, I see a sign, it makes me smile. Welcome to nowhere, and we're glad to see you. When I travel on, the diner is closed. The old man holds out his hand and says, hey man, I'm no one, and I'm glad to see you. No one cares if there's war anywhere, and the sun always shines, and they're glad to see you. Nowhere is now the place I call home. Everyone here, they know my name, and everyone here is glad to see me. But some people criticize this town. They say it's such a dead-end scene. Sometimes I think so, and I would like to be there. And no one cares if there's war anywhere, and the sun always shines, and they're glad to see you. And no one needs any peace in the east. They just hope the fish will bite, and they're glad to see you. love here. Tell her I miss her and I can't wait to see her. I'll be in Noah's picture house, waiting with no one for the show. And all of the stories here have happy endings. No one cares if there's war anywhere, and the sun always shines, and they're glad to see you. And no one needs any peace in the east. They just hope the fish will bite, and they're glad to see you.
It's the Breaks Music Show, and we're speaking with Chris Cruz today. We've heard a couple of songs of his. We got a little more interview coming up on another song as well, right here on the Breaks Music Show.
Hey everyone, Nikki Young here, host of the international true crime podcast, Serial Napper. Let me guide you through some of the craziest true crime stories you've never heard of. Add in a dash of creepy, spooky, and weird, and you've got Serial Napper. I cover a new case each week, some of them unsolved, so I also host a monthly chat where we go through the evidence, the suspects, and theories. You don't want to miss this. Serial Napper is available on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.
It's the Breaks Music Show. Chris Cruz joining us in the studio today. All right, Chris, got a question. So what is a typical Chris Cruz show like?
Well, there really isn't a typical show, because I think that, as a songwriter, growing up or coming up, you really didn't want to do covers. There was always this feeling that if you went out and you played cover music, you were selling your music short. And, for survival, I had to do that. And I think what it does is it gives you more weapons to work on your own music. So, I like a good song. So if you come to see me play, I'm probably going to do a nice cover. I'm probably going to do, it depends on what who's on the bill with me, and it's going to be a mix of things. And I think that keeps it interesting as a performer. I don't know that I would be, it might make me crazy if I went out and played my music every night of the week. I think to mix things up, playing music, day after day can be a little bit of a grind, and if you do different things, it tends to make things, you appreciate it a little bit more, and you don't get worn out and burned out. So,
It's the Breaks Music Show with Chris Cruz. All right, I got another question for you here. What is your creative process? Do you lock yourself in a room, you make yourself do stuff, or do you just it comes to you, it comes to you? I know different theories on this. How do you do it?
It varies. I am extremely lucky to have a huge backlog of music. I mean, at this moment, I'm just trying to get as much of my music recorded as I can. I have stacks of legal pads with music on them, and all. I actually have written most of my music right here in this spot with this guitar. It's a loud guitar, and it's bright, and I will generally write the music first, and the music will kind of guide me as to what the song is about. Just the tempo of it, the timbre of it, and then I will apply lyrics to it and come up with an idea. And it usually just, luckily just kind of comes to me. But you sort of get a direction or an idea for it, and then, you pull things from your life, from your experiences, not necessarily 100% reality. You sometimes embellish, but write these things down and write a chord progression down, and I also tend to like to write write like 2 or 3 songs at once, because if you're working on a song, you might get a little tired or hit a wall, and then you work on another song, and you kind of bounce around, and that helps me to keep everything fresh.
It's the Breaks Music Show with Chris Cruz, and we're going to play song number 3 here. I Like the Red, I Like the Blue. Can you set that song up for us, Chris?
Well, that's a song called I Like the Red, I Like the Blue, and then it goes I Like the Dodgers and the Angels too. It's a song about cable TV. I've always been a big sports fan, and I hate paying for cable TV. And the first line in the song refers to the dawning of MTV. I was a room service waiter at the Marriott when MTV debuted at the cable convention there, and it's the video killed the radio thing. So it's just kind of a reference to that and the progress of cable TV and its influence on us. I think that cable TV has really divided the country, and so it's me protesting, saying, listen, I like the Dodgers and I like the Angels, or you could say I like the Mets and I like the Yankees, or the Giants and the Oakland A's. That I don't, the militancy in that song is listen, I'm not going to have, I don't have to choose. I can just do what I want.
It's the Breaks Music Show with Chris Cruz. Here is the song, I Like the Red, I Like the Blue, on the Breaks Music Show.
Video killed the radio, and now there's cable news. Well, I just wanna watch the game, and I don't want to choose. Oh, I like the red, and I like the blue. I like the Dodgers and the Angels too. I like the red, I like the blue. The man on TV tells me that he's taking us to hell. So I just changed the channel, and they say he's doing swell. Oh, I like the red, and I like the blue. I like the Dodgers and the Angels too. And the green statue in the bay, she says, welcome to the United States. I like the red, I like the blue. 100 million channels, but there's nothing good to watch. Infomercials, advertising, it goes on and on and on and on. Yeah, I like the red, and I like the blue. I like the Dodgers and the Angels too. I like the red, I like the blue. Old times are just a fashion, but the clothes don't seem to hide. Demographics engineered to profit and divide. But I like the red, and I like the blue. I like the Dodgers and the Angels too. And the feeling that runs through my veins when I say let's go United States. I like the red, I like the blue.
It's the Breaks Music Show, and before we get out of here, like we always do, we want to find out how people can find more information out about Chris Cruz. Where are you at on the socials, and where can we listen to your music and all that good stuff?
Well, my music is, it's all up on my website. So the first place you want to go is chriscruz.net. And then there'll be links to my Facebook, to my YouTube channel. All my music is streaming up there. The videos are on there. And it also has my schedule. I do host a Monday open mic in Huntington Beach at a place called the Beach Hut Deli. from 6:30 to 9:30, and I do a second Saturday songwriter showcase, which we're just restarting that, and the first one will be July the 10th. And then I do, a variety of, you can just look up on my schedule and see I do restaurants, and Ray and I will do wine bars, tooling around the area, trying to get work where I can as a working musician.
It's the Breaks Music Show, Chris Cruz, and if you're ever out in Orange County, be sure and check one of his shows. For the Breaks Music Show, of course, I'm Ed Steele, and more coming your way in moments. Calling all unsigned independent bands and musicians. The Breaks Music Show is looking for you to be on our show. The Breaks Music Show is a new podcast that features one artist each week in their own 20-minute interview segment with 3 of their songs played on air. Hosted by yours truly, Ed Steele. The Breaks Music Show is positioned to be the best podcast for unsigned artists worldwide. To be considered for the Breaks Music Show, go to breaksmusicshow.com. Click on the Give Me a Break tab and complete the application. Also, be sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform and subscribe to our social media channels and mailing list. The Breaks Music Show is a Grebo Inc. production.